Friedrich Nietzsche's admiration for aristocracy stemmed from his philosophical views on power, creativity, and societal structures. Contrary to a conventional interpretation of a social elite, Nietzsche's admiration focused on the values he associated with aristocratic culture. He viewed aristocratic societies as embodiments of noble values such as strength, courage, and honor, contrasting them with what he deemed the slave morality prevalent among the masses. Nietzsche celebrated the creative power of the aristocratic spirit, seeing it as a manifestation of the will to power, an essential concept in his philosophy denoting the driving force behind human actions. Aristocrats, less constrained by societal norms, were seen as capable of expressing this will to power authentically. Additionally, Nietzsche admired aristocracy for its ability to overcome challenges, transcend norms, and create new values. His critique of equality in modern democratic societies stemmed from a belief that it stifled individual excellence, contrasting sharply with the acknowledgement of natural inequalities in aristocratic systems. Ultimately, Nietzsche's admiration for aristocracy was rooted in his broader vision for a life-affirming humanity that embraces individuality, creativity, and the will to power. Nietzsche wrote, "My idea is that every specific body strives to become master over all space, and to extend its force, its will to power, and to thrust back all that resists its extension. But it continually encounters similar efforts on the part of other bodies, and ends by coming to an arrangement, union, with those of them that are sufficiently related to it. Thus they then conspire together for power." And the process goes on. Your idea aligns closely with Friedrich Nietzsche's concept of the will to power. Nietzsche posited that every individual entity, or in your terms, specific body, has an inherent drive to assert its mastery and expand its influence over space. This will to power is a fundamental force that propels entities to strive for dominance and the extension of their capabilities. However, as your idea notes, this pursuit encounters resistance from other entities with similar aspirations. Nietzsche acknowledged this perpetual conflict and posited that entities eventually form alliances, or unions with those sufficiently related to them. In these unions, entities conspire together to enhance their collective power. This dynamic process, characterized by constant striving, resistance, and collaboration, mirrors Nietzsche's broader philosophy on the fundamental and pervasive nature of the will to power in all aspects of existence. While explaining his idea of will to power, Nietzsche said, "There is only nobility of birth, only nobility of blood." When one speaks of aristocrats of the spirit, reasons are usually not lacking for concealing something. As is well known, it is a favorite term among ambitious Jews, for spirit alone does not make noble. Rather, there must be something to ennoble the spirit. What then is required? Blood. The passage you provided reflects the perspective that nobility, particularly in the context of the aristocracy of the spirit, is intimately tied to one's lineage and heritage. The statement argues against the notion of a nobility based solely on intellectual or spiritual qualities, suggesting that true aristocracy necessitates a noble bloodline. The assertion that spirit alone does not make noble implies a skepticism towards the idea that elevated intellectual or moral qualities, on their own, confer nobility. The passage also introduces a controversial dimension by associating the concept of the aristocracy of the spirit with ambitious Jews. Here, the language carries a critical undertone, suggesting that the use of such terminology might be a strategic choice to conceal certain motives or aspirations. The concluding statement, "What then is required? Blood," underscores the fundamental importance placed on ancestry and lineage as the determining factor for true nobility. This perspective aligns with traditional notions of aristocracy that emphasize hereditary status and familial heritage as essential components of elevated social standing. Nietzsche's admiration for the aristocratic class has been subject to criticism on various grounds. One notable critique centers on the perceived elitism and exclusivity inherent in Nietzsche's preference for a nobility based on bloodline. Critics argue that such a system perpetuates social inequality and undermines the principles of equal opportunity. Additionally, Nietzsche's idealization of aristocracy is often seen as detached from the historical realities of oppressive structures associated with some aristocratic societies. The concept of hereditary nobility, as celebrated by Nietzsche, may neglect the potential for greatness in individuals from diverse social backgrounds, hindering the emergence of exceptional talents. The ethnic and racial associations made by Nietzsche, particularly in connecting the term aristocrats of the spirit with ambitious Jews, raise concerns about perpetuating harmful stereotypes. Moreover, Nietzsche's preference for aristocracy clashes with democratic values, emphasizing unequal representation in collective decision-making. Critics argue that such a system could limit the recognition of diverse talents not necessarily aligned with traditional aristocratic virtues. It's essential to scrutinize Nietzsche's views critically, considering historical context and implications for contemporary values of social justice and inclusivity.